Watching TV has changed over time. Streaming has become the new norm. That's why Golden State Media Concepts Television Podcast dives headfirst to the world of cord cutting. Want to be on the loop of what's hot in Netflix? Or if it's not a preference, what about original shows in Hulu? We've got you covered. Join us as we fill in the blank and talk about movies to stream and what show you should be binging. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Television Podcast.
Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Television Podcast. I'm your host, Shay Northrup, and this is
Pauline.
And today we're going to talk to you guys a little bit about using YouTube to cut the cord, so to speak. The return of Z Nation, and what was that show that you were?
Naked and Afraid.
And we'll talk a little bit about Naked and Afraid.
Yes.
Now, to start things off, one of the things, as custom on the television podcast, we like to talk to you guys a little bit about cutting the cord, so to speak, no longer using cable and getting rid of that pesky Xfinity. So one of the things that you can use, and it may not be the best option, but YouTube has gotten a lot better for TV and television content. You can buy episodes for, I think, like $1 a pop from pretty much all of your favorite shows. So if you can't find it on Amazon, can't find it on Hulu, can't find it on Netflix, you can probably find it on YouTube for $1 a pop. And it used to be back in the day where you'd watch shows kind of on like kind of like the gray market type thing on YouTube. Like YouTube used to be like I'd go and watch movies that, you know, weren't supposed to be uploaded to YouTube.
I remember those, yes.
I mean, you can still do that. And I know that there are some shows that are still posted. Like if you want to catch clips of Whitest Kids You Know, you can go on YouTube and check it out. Or just clips from shows in generals. But you used to be able to watch full episodes, and this was kind of before they got a little bit more strict about their copyright policy. You can also watch movies on YouTube, and so one of the ways they do that is you can either buy them or rent them, much like Vudu or Amazon. Okay. So, you know, if you can't find it there, or if you want, like, because one of the things that I have a problem with sometimes with Vudu is it's a little laggy because it takes so long to buffer. YouTube doesn't really seem to have that problem as much, and I can find some movies on YouTube to rent a little bit cheaper than on Vudu occasionally. So, especially if I'm looking for like some really obscure horror movie that, you know, they probably won't have. YouTube will probably have it, and it'll probably be usually like to rent a movie on YouTube is like $3, and you get it for like, I think 24 hours or 2 days or something like that. What's also really cool about like the YouTube app is if you have it on your phone and you have like a smart TV or a Blu-ray player or that sort of thing, you can actually mirror your phone and have it connect with the receiver. So that way what you click on your phone, you can kind of use it as a remote, which is really cool because
I like that idea.
You don't have to get up. You don't have to use, like, using a remote to try to find things and to try to type in things can be a little bit of a pain. I don't know.
No, I like that idea.
Yeah, so it's like mirrored, and what it does is it'll play on the TV, but it won't play on your phone. You know, so it makes it nice and easy. It's one of those things that, like, I don't know if you ever sit down with groups of friends and like just watch a ton of YouTube videos on your TV. Yeah, but that makes it really easy to go and look for things without using a pesky remote.
Exactly.
You know, so.
I do like that idea, and I think we kind of talked a little bit about mirroring, like the screens, because I just discovered this great help to watching shows from like my tablet or phone and things like that. So I think that idea makes that app really like something that I would want to try.
Right.
And I remember we kind of like talked about this a little bit before about how if you wanted to use the YouTube, you would have to just pay for like the episodes, but then it kind of like averages out and things like that. Yeah,
so I know one of the biggest things that people are kind of worried about, and you can do this on Amazon and Vudu as well. This is just another way to get a hold of it. You pay for each episode individually, and usually they're like 99 cents. Some shows I think you can get for free, but most of them you have to pay 99 cents for. And so one of like the concerns is like, well, I don't want to pay that much money. Like, why can't I go and watch it someplace else or whatever.
Right.
Well, if you were to go and buy the DVD, like so to speak, it's about the same as buying the episodes individually. So like if you got like a show with like 20 seasons and you go, you'll probably find the DVD for like $20. Like I know the Game of Thrones DVDs are like $24 and you get like, it's totally worth it.
It's still, it's basically the same thing.
Yeah, so it's kind of similar in that aspect. It's just kind of like iTunes, how like you buy a song for $1, you know, similar thing. Buy a show for $1. But I can tell that like if you're getting into some of those shows with just like an infinite number of episodes, you don't really want to pay like 30, 40, 50, $60 to watch all of it, you know.
In one time.
Yeah, and I don't know about you guys, but I blow through shows pretty quickly. I just finished watching Stranger Things, and I know Drew kind of talked a little bit about it, but like Stranger Things is where it is at. If you like 80s science fiction and 80s horror movies, but like that kind of Steven Spielberg-esque where it's not like super scary, but you know it's just scary enough. Like it's like a tribute to like Steven Spielberg and Stephen King horror, the horror of the Stevens. It's pretty good stuff. I highly recommend you guys check that show out if you haven't. But so. Another thing that YouTube's been offering lately, and this isn't really so much in the TV realm, although I guess it could kind of do. If you like your content from YouTube, there's also YouTube Red, which YouTube Red offers like a bunch of music and stuff like that, all ad-free. It's kind of like if you were to get like Spotify, right? If you're familiar with Spotify, where it's music, but if you pay for it, it's ad-free.
Right.
Same thing with Pandora. If you pay for Pandora, it's ad-free. So it's $10 a month. Ad-free YouTube, special content from YouTube creators. So I'm sure it's like behind the scenes of like Freddie Wong or whoever it is you like to watch on YouTube. And then it'll do where you can watch some videos on offline mode, which I'm not sure exactly how that works. I wonder if you have to like save the video.
Yeah, you probably like download it and then
you can watch it later. Something like that. And then I know like it does it to where you can listen to stuff without having your device on. So like if you wanted to listen to YouTube music before, you'd have to like leave your phone on because if you turned it off, YouTube
or
would
went
just
to like
stop.
a different app or something.
Right. So it's doing like a continual play type thing. So I honestly, in my personal opinion, if I don't have to pay for something, I'll deal with the ads and the
me too.
things. Like
Me too.
I don't mind dealing with the ads on Pandora and Spotify. Like forget about it. Like
I'm
I
the
don't
exact
care.
same way.
I'm not gonna pay for premium YouTube. Like, and so I don't know. I might be wrong about that sort of thing, but like I just don't need to be spending another $10 a month.
But I can see why some people. But I'm the same way. I am not.
If you're using YouTube like a lot, and I mean like just like you have people you follow all the time and you want to see all that kind of extra stuff, then sure. But like if you're like me and you only watch a couple videos and you only follow a couple people and you're not really too into the whole YouTube scene, then I don't know. Is there anything on YouTube you really like to watch?
I usually just go there if I'm trying to like watch like a music video periodically, and before how we were saying like to watch like some shows when you could get them
right
a little bit easier on YouTube.
I know
like
you can find a lot of like anime that's uploaded that way. Like because I know like in Japan their copyright laws are a little bit different. So I know you can find some stuff that you're really not supposed to have on there still. But
I think I would just do it like I use it a lot in college, I guess, for like when you just need clips for like a presentation or that's kind of my extent with YouTube. Mostly just watch music videos or like show somebody something real quickly and it's not really full length.
I use it a lot for like if I want to listen to music that I can't find like right away and I haven't bought the album or whatever.
Right.
I'll go listen to it on YouTube. And I know that's become that's been a popular thing like since YouTube came out. But I also follow a couple I follow a couple movie reviewers, but then like at the same time, I'll sometimes if I can't afford to buy a video game and I really want to play the video game, but I don't want to drop $60, I'll watch Let's Plays. And Let's Plays are honestly kind of lame, but there are a few guys that I actually like to watch. Like for example, the totally accurate battle simulator game isn't out yet, and it's in alpha, like pre-alpha, and There are a few people that have been selected to like play the game and play test the game, and they put their videos up on YouTube, and I watch those because I think that game is hilarious and it looks like a lot of fun. And when it comes out on Steam, I'm definitely going to buy it. But those are the kind of things I follow on YouTube. Sometimes I'll rent movies from YouTube if I have no other choice anywhere else, or it is kind of convenient. Like $3 for a movie isn't that bad. So.
Right, I agree. And I think I watch makeup tutorials, but I don't think I would pay for a makeup tutorial.
I actually hear that like the girls who do makeup tutorials like actually make a bit of money.
Yeah, they make a pretty good
one
of change. Yeah, I was going to say, and like YouTube stars, like people who like that's
they make
their
living
job
off of it. It's so they make hard millions to get to that of dollars. Point. It's so hard to get to that point, but like you can make a lot of money if you get the right audience.
Exactly. So I'm sure this is going to benefit them as well, like how YouTube's evolving and things too.
Yeah, well, it's definitely become a lot more professional because I remember like back in the day, it was just a dump where you just
people just
crappy videos.
would just upload anything.
Well, and it still is. I mean, like there's so much garbage on YouTube, but all right. So the gist of things, if you want to rent movies and rent TV shows, or I think it's actually you buy the TV shows, the episodes, then YouTube may be a good choice for you. Looks like YouTube Red is kind of a bust. It's been out for about a year. I don't know anybody who's actually buying it. If you bought it, and if you're into that sort of thing, please let us know why, so that way we can try to understand. Yeah. And so when we get back from this break, we're going to talk to you about Naked and Afraid.
Yes.
So stick around.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA Podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
And welcome back to the GSMC Television Podcast. And so right before the break, we mentioned that I was going to discuss Naked and Afraid. And Naked and Afraid is, I wasn't really, it's something that my mom showed me, and I was like, okay, like whatever. But I'm actually really into it.
What is Naked and Afraid? Okay, I am completely unfamiliar with this show.
So there's a pair, a man and a woman, that get dropped off in like in a secluded place. So they can get dropped off like in the Sahara, they can get dropped off in the Amazon, they're getting dropped off like in all these remote places, like in islands, they're getting dropped off in just these remote natural places that are like not developed. So like they're literally in like the wild, and they're naked, like and you can only bring like each person can bring one item.
So is this like a reality show?
It's like a reality show and like a survival show type thing, because then they're left there for 21 days and they have to just like survive and live and like off the land and like protect themselves, find water, find like food, and like they have to like kill the food, cook the food. And then the cool thing about it is that the camera crew and everybody isn't allowed to interact with them at all unless they're literally like about to die, basically. Right. So it's just kind of like you watch what happens and what they try to do to just like survive. And then so you're paired up with a stranger, and each person like that comes into it though has some sort of like survival like skill set. Some people, like I've watched one where like they were like a mountaineer. There are some people who are like hunters. People who just like, I think there was like a guy from the military, like, you know, so like they have some type of like survival training, but this setting is different because one, like they're naked and they don't have like all the supplies and tools that you would generally take with you when you're camping or whatever.
Right.
And then you're with a complete stranger, so you have to deal with that interaction. And then you don't have like access to anything and you don't have help. You know what I'm saying? And so they build like shelter. Well, some people build shelters. Some people, and I think it's kind of like cool because like one, I like learn little like survival tips from like watching it. Like when they try to build like traps and things like that, I'm like, oh, okay. Like I wouldn't have thought of that. And then, but the thing is if your partner leaves early or like can't take it any longer, because a lot of times they don't eat for like long stretches of time, like days,
Right.
or like they'll just eat like berries or like chew on leaves. Like it's really like crazy how they like have to survive sometimes because you can't always like kill different animals.
Right.
And
Well, yeah. You gotta.
and so, yeah, like, and just like, or capture them, whatever, anything. And so, and I always feel like really bad when they get close to like catching something in their trap, like something might like knock down their trap, but then somehow got away.
Right.
And it's like, or when they like go fishing and like they have their like little makeshift like traps that they make, and it's like no fish get caught in there. I always feel like really bad because then they start getting irritated with one another, and then you see that dynamic happening, and then sometimes it does make you kind of like, it just takes a toll on you. So then if your partner leaves, decides to like quit, you have to stay there the rest of the time by yourself.
Right.
And survive by yourself. And so it's interesting because sometimes the people go in there, and my mom and I always laugh at this because there's always like that one person. Sometimes it's the guy, sometimes it's the girl who's like, oh, I got this. Like, 3 weeks in, the Amazon is nothing. Like I'm this, I've been here, I've done that. And then they leave early, like,
Yeah,
or they
well,
can't take it. And they're like laying on the side crying because, well, I mean, I don't know how this feels to just like not eat for like 2 to 3 weeks,
Right.
and being literally naked and getting like rain pouring down on me and like bugs biting me. But then it's like, you don't really know what to expect until you're there. And you were just talking all that smack before, and now,
It's the age-old thing. Like, it's the quiet ones you want to watch out for, right? Like, it's the quiet ones that, that really know. The people who are loud mouths usually don't know what they're talking about.
And so I think it's just like a really fun show because one, like how I was saying, it kind of, you learn different things. And then depending on the type of like just animals that live in that area,
Right.
that are just, from that area, they have to take other precautions too, depending on where they are and things
Right,
like that. Because
yeah.
I saw one that they were like in Africa and they were trying to like hunt and things like that, but you can't hunt in the same areas that like lions and things hunt in because that's their hunting ground, and they're kind of like trespassing. So that's like, putting yourself in danger and things like that. And it's just like crazy to me because like I like going to the zoo and like you see the animals at the zoo and you see how big they are, but then in the wild they're a lot bigger, and like there's nothing between you and that animal.
Right.
Even if it's just like a hog, like,
Well, those will mess you
if
up.
like a hog charges you,
Like,
yeah.
People legitimately die from pigs. Like,
Right.
They're
And there's nothing
they're not to be messed
between
with.
you and them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I just think it's like crazy some of the things that they have to
So,
go
like, what
through.
are the limitations on what they can bring? That's something I'm very interested in.
Yeah, so like you can bring like some people, because like they give you like you can bring like a tool. So some people bring like a pot. Some people like you can't bring clothes. You
Yeah.
can't bring hygienic like products. So like you can't bring like toothbrush or things like that, like lotion.
You couldn't bring hairspray.
And then one girl I watched, she came on the first day like with a full face of makeup, and I was like, I get it because like you're on TV, but like girlfriend, you're gonna be in the wilderness for weeks on end, so like by like a few days, like your makeup is smearing because you can't really like some there's been some places like where they're in certain situations where they can like get in the water and like swim and kind of like cool off and kind of like rinse off a little bit,
Right.
But a lot of times they're not showering, like there's no facility to shower, and things like that. So I was like thinking to myself, like, girl, like I know you're trying to look cute and stuff, but like now, kind of
it's
having
bad
an
for your
adverse
complexion
effect.
too.
Like,
Over a while, like you're
so-
supposed to, yeah.
So yeah,
Supposed to take that stuff off at the end of the day.
And everybody eventually by like day like what 5, 6, 7 are so dirty because you have to like dig to go to the bathroom, and if you eat something that makes you throw up, you have to dig because you have to cover it up, you know.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I just think it's a lot of fun. It's on, I believe, the Discovery Channel, and it's getting kind of like popular because now they're doing ones where like groups of people are getting put in places and they're there for a longer extended time.
That sounds really
to
interesting.
survive.
I'd actually kind of want to check that out.
Mm-hmm. And then at the end, and it's kind of cool because in the beginning they're given like a survival rating.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the 3 weeks, they're reevaluated. So sometimes like their survival rating will like go down based upon their performance,
Right.
or it could go up because there's some people that like you don't think are going to do that well, and like they may have just like a few survival skills, but then they really, you know, just I guess like blossom because like survival, you know, there's been times like one girl, she was saying that she was like a vegetarian and that she can't eat meat, and the guy was like, dude, you know, what are you going to eat out here if the only thing we can kill is like a snake or something? Like, are you really just going to sit here and just chew on leaves the entire 3 weeks? Because she wasn't able, like, you know, there's not like fruits and things everywhere and a bunch of different access to different plants and things. So he was like, you know, and so she was kind of like struggling with that.
So could you like bring like a knife or something? Like
you can bring like, yeah, one guy, I watched one where like they brought like a machete.
Yeah,
so
that's
you
perfect.
can do some stuff like that. You can bring like a fire starter. Some people bring fire starters. Somebody brought like a tarp once to like try to like keep to keep cover.
Yeah.
To help them keep cover.
I wonder if
and things
anybody's
like that.
ever brought no volleyball.
Wilson?
Yeah.
Bringing Wilson. So, I mean, I'm sure you probably, I guess, could bring Wilson with you, but then that's your only thing to survive.
Hey, man.
And so,
It's Wilson.
and then it's kind of funny because sometimes, like, well, this part wasn't funny, but a guy, like, got stepped on, like, a thorn and then got, like, an infection in his foot. So then you have to deal with that thing because, like, the crews don't really interact with you. It wasn't until, like, his foot was, like, really swollen and then he was running a fever that they were like, okay, we have to get him out of here because he could literally, that was, like, a really bad situation. But they kind of, like, let you deal with it and you just watch how these people adapt to, like, what the situation is. So, I mean, I really enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's different. I was kind of thrown off because I was like, really, why are they naked? Like, you know, I was like, really? Like, they can't just be out there and, like, survive. But it does kind of add a different element. Some people do, like, a lot of, like, sometimes the girls will, like, weave, like, little, like, skirts or something.
Yeah.
But then sometimes they don't because it's, like, I'm more concerned about trying to figure out something to eat than, you know.
Well, like, do they just, like, blur out?
Yeah, they blur out everything. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And so they do that. And, I mean, it's pretty interesting and it's a lot of fun. And I don't think I could survive. So, in a way, even though there's times when, like, I'm watching it and I'm like, stupid guy, why did you do that? Or girl, do this. Like, you know, like, I'm giving them tips. I know I could not survive a whole 3 weeks, you know.
Right.
In the Amazon with rain pouring on me all day long.
I want to try it.
So,
I would love to try that. I would love to see if I could do it.
How long you could last.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how long I could last. Anyway, it seems like that we need to wrap things up a little bit because we are coming up on a break. When we come back, we are going to talk about the return of Z Nation. Stick around.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
And welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Television Podcast. Now, one of the shows that I have been really interested in and just completely caught up on is the show Z Nation on the Sci-Fi Channel. Now, if you don't know anything about Z Nation, I suggest you turn off this podcast right now and go listen to it. I know I say that a lot, but Z Nation's actually one of those shows that I'm really into. As a fan of George A. Romero zombie films and that sort of thing, Z Nation really hit a special spot with me because not only is it a serious, dramatic show about zombies, but it also has some very comedic elements. Like, I think in one episode there was aliens. And, you know, when I first saw that, I was like, wow, that's kind of stupid. But then, like, they even, like, describe in the episode, well, zombies are kind of stupid too. So it's just one of those, it's a real gem. Like, so the show Z Nation is created by Asylum. Mm-hmm. Now, I know you're all hearing Asylum and freaking out right now because they do those really, really bad, like when Transformers came out, they did Transmorphers. Like, Asylum is notorious for, like, ripping off a movie completely. Like, when Pacific Rim came out, they did Atlantic Rim. They're really notorious for taking a movie, making something extremely similar, so that way when it comes out in Redbox or Netflix, grandma's like, oh, well, hey, look, that movie came out already, and then goes and buys it for you for Christmas, and then, like, you realize that you've just been handed a piece of garbage.
Oh, my gosh.
No, that happens. That is a thing. But they've actually been coming out with a lot more original content. So, like Asylum has kind of taken over the Sci-Fi Channel in a way, which is like a good thing and a bad thing. Because, well, I personally love Sharknado. They're the guys that are behind Sharknado, and they even have like an episode in Z Nation where it's a zombie tornado. Like, it's a little ridiculous. The show is a little ridiculous, but it's also funny. So it looks like season 3 is picking up right where season 2 left off. And if you haven't watched season 1 and 2 yet, I'm sorry, there are going to be a few spoilers in here, so I'm just warning you that right now. So where we left off, Murphy, he has like telekinetic control over zombies. Like, he was the guy they did an experiment on, and the first 2 seasons are trying to get Murphy to California so that way they can use his blood to have an antivirus going. Well, they found that, like, he now has the power to, like, control the zombies a little bit, like, not big swarms of them, but like small amounts of them. So like 1 or 2, they won't bother him, and he kind of has a bit of control. And if he bites you, you kind of become a part human, part zombie hybrid thing that, you know, almost becomes his slave. It's kind of interesting. So at the end of the last episode, he went to the facility. They find out that the facility is no bueno. They want to do some bad tests on him. So he bites them, takes control, and leaves, and then the facility blows up. So one of the things that I know, like, a lot of people, and you know, like, so like the other characters that brought him there that are like, well, now what are we going to do? They see him and they're like, oh, well, snap. What's going on here? So one of the things that I think may be happening with this show is we may be seeing the Murphy becoming an antagonist, because Murphy isn't a good guy. Like, he kind of got a little bit more friendly with the crew later on, but like Murphy is kind of a jerk, and you kind of want to watch him die. And one of the great dynamics of the show is that they're forced to deal with this guy who refuses to help them kill anything and basically just sits around and lets them take care of him. Mm-hmm. And they have to do it because he's the last hope for humanity. And so it's one of those situations where you're with someone that you don't want to deal with, but you have to deal with them. And so one of the things that they kind of alluded to at the end of the episode was that 10K may or may not be dead. And that's something that I know my girlfriend loves 10K. That's one of her favorite characters. And so she's kind of really worried that he's dead. Now, I don't think they're going to kill off 10K. I could be wrong, because Z Nation is like notorious for killing off characters. Like, as soon as you get attached to somebody, they kill them off. The only people that I think are still left is may or may not be 10K, and I'll tell you why I don't think 10K is dead in a minute. Citizen Z, Roberta Warren, who's kind of the leader of the group, so to speak. I don't think they're ever going to kill her off, because she is kind of the leader. Addison Carver, Stephen Black, Alvin Murphy, and then Scorpion, who has just recently joined them. I actually like Scorpion's character a lot. I'm kind of hoping to see some more cool stuff from him. Now, the reason I don't think 10K is dead, well, for one thing, I don't think he's the kind of character that you can kill off, because pretty much all the people that I just listed, except for maybe Scorpion, are not expendable. Like, every season they get a couple people that you're just like, we know this guy's going to die because they killed off all of our favorites in the beginning anyway. So, but I don't think 10K is going to die because if you look at the website, they don't show him in the trailer. Now, you can go and watch the trailer on the Sci-Fi website or YouTube or whatever, but the trailer is really interesting and kind of gives you kind of an idea on where they're going, and that's kind of where I get the idea that maybe Murphy is the bad guy this time and that they're trying to stop Murphy from creating some zombie army or whatever. And they do show a sniper scope for a split second, which for one thing makes me think that 10K is still alive. And if you look on the cast and crew list, 10K is listed as one of the main cast members, so I think that he's going to be okay. I really hope that he's okay. I actually really enjoy his character, and I love his relationships with some of the other characters in the... So the way that they're going to kick this all off is they're going to put out like a 2-hour movie that's going to be coming out on, I believe, the Sci-Fi Channel. I don't think they're going to release it, any special releases. And if they do a special release of it, I'm definitely going to go and see it at my local theater. So they're putting out a 2-hour movie, and then the season 3 is going to start. So I'm really excited about it. It looks like it's coming out on September the 16th. And man, like I said, like I didn't think I was going to like this show at first. If you haven't watched this show yet, give the first 2 episodes a chance, because the beginning of the first episode is a little cheesy, but if you give it a little bit more time, it gets better. And the show itself like brings up some really interesting concepts with zombies that we haven't really seen before, in a comedic way and in a serious way. Like, one of the things that the show describes is that once you're dead, you turn into a zombie. So like, if you kill someone, you can't eat their meat, so to speak, because they're a zombie technically now. So one of the things that some of the antagonist characters were doing, like in season 1, was like there was like a meat farm of people almost, where this group was collecting people and like chopping off bits of them while they're still alive and then eating them, because then it's technically not dead flesh and rotting flesh. Like, it's some really interesting concepts are going into this. And so like, I'm kind of excited to see where they're going to take it. And I know like me and a couple of my friends who are into the show are really interested in seeing like where this is going to go from here, because now the gang is no longer focused on the main focus of the show. Things are completely changed. And one of the things we were kind of wondering if we were ever even going to get season 3, because we know season 2 didn't do so well as season 1 as far as viewership goes. Although season 2 got definitely a bigger budget and was, in my opinion, far better than season 1. I think season 3 finally got there focused. So it looks like that's about all the time we have for today. I highly recommend you guys check out Naked and Afraid and Z Nation. 2 excellent shows. YouTube, a way that you can go and get some streaming for cutting the cord, finding shows you want to find, finding movies you want to rent and don't want to pay full price for. And so we're going to have to cut it to a close right now. So thank you for listening, listeners, and have a good evening.